We're friggin' nobodies, Jacob and Noel. We're friggin' nobodies. Welcome to our show. We're friggin' nobodies. We don't know much. We're friggin' nobodies. We're holding out a touch. Hey, you got it that time.
All right, that's our intro.
We're doing them live now.
Well, I don't know if we'll do all of them live. We might go back to the old one here and there, but we're going to try it live.
Okay,
Anyways.
I'm going to go first because I think it sets up better.
Okay, sure,
Yeah.
you do yours first.
Okay,
Go ahead.
because we've had practice. Okay, that's the one I want. So this week's topic is, does comedy need to be ugly?
Yes.
All right, and that solves it.
Okay, see you later.
Dude, we're kidding because we're funny. So I didn't pick this topic, and I'm not really sure how it came about, but here we go. So I have heard Jacob's rant about this topic.
You haven't.
No, not yet. And I'm pretty sure that he's an advocate for the notion that comedy should be ugly, or at the very least, comedians shouldn't be attractive. Now, I could care less as long as the comedy is good. However, the topic did get me thinking. Not so much about comedians themselves, but about comedy being ugly, in the sense of containing or addressing underlying issues that are, gross to think about. Now, I'm not talking about political hackery or point scoring. What I mean is more concerned with touching and engaging some form of underlying truth, and then making fun of it. We've already spoken about the topics that are supposedly taboo, like the Holocaust or rape and, things you shouldn't or can't joke about. And Jacob and I both agree, comedy shouldn't really shy away from any topic. As long as the intention is to be funny, and it is funny, then why the hell shouldn't you have a good laugh about it?
Although failing is okay.
It depends.
You can't always nail it, knock it out of the park first time.
No.
You might tell some bad ones on the way there.
It's going to take a while to get it down, It's going to look a little insensitive when you screw up. So what I'm talking about in regards to ugly is the underlying truth that is often unspoken rules or conduct of a social structure, and they're difficult to bring up in casual conversation. So off the top of my head, Shane Gillis joking about Down syndrome, or Bill Burr joking about never hitting a woman, but having plenty of reasons to. Those are going to be difficult conversations to have with strangers. But in a comedy club, with the right joke, it's fine. So I'm not saying that comedians are the social spokespersons for difficult issues. That's foolish. But the role they have, or should have, is to open the topics up for discussion by making them a little more approachable through laughter. Comedy can be used to tackle gross or ugly topics by granting a little relief from the overwhelming ick about having to think or deal with those issues. That said, as you said, it's not for every comedian, because if it's handled poorly, it's just mean. And it becomes you just poking fun at a horrible situation, with no enlightenment or respect. Now, I don't like that kind of comedy, but the other kind, it's great because it has a purpose beyond just making us laugh. So, you may not know about Robert Heinlein, the sci-fi writer. Mm-hmm. Do you know about him?
Did he write Seventh Son of a Seventh Son?
He did not. That was in the Bible, Jacob.
Okay.
He didn't write the Bible. So,
could have swore.
in one of his books, he's got an alien character.
Was it Iron Maiden that wrote that?
Iron Maiden? No, that was Number of the Beast. He had an alien character. Heinlein did, not Iron Maiden, in one of his books that didn't understand laughter. But he went to the zoo one day, and he was at the monkey cage. And he was watching the feeding time, and the zookeeper came by, put all the food in there, and a little monkey ran over and started eating all the food, as happy as a clam. And then a bigger monkey came along and just gave him a real good thumping, beat the hell out of him, sent him off into the corner, and then the bigger monkey started eating the food. Then an even bigger monkey came by and beat the hell out of that monkey. Yeah. The two of them were off in the corner, and the biggest monkey was eating it, and then the alien got it. And what he said was, laughter was the only recourse in a terrible situation which you could do nothing about. And ugly comedy taps into those situations and lets off a little bit of the pressure, makes them approachable. Mm-hmm. So as for comedians being attractive, well, I think that's akin to something Doug Stanhope said. You know that guy?
Of course.
Yeah, he said in one of his specials that nobody needs a comedian in a tropical resort or a fabulous mansion. Because comedy should be in the basement of a rundown, fire trap comedy club in a bad part of town, because those are the people that need the comedy the most. They need a good laugh. They have little lives. It's miserable. You need a relief, a release. And that sort of laughter in a terrible situation is a release that, comedy can get you if it's done right. So when a comedian's too good looking, it's harder to buy into the notion that we, as an audience, are laughing with them.
Yes.
Instead of having them just make us laugh. One's a lot less inclusive than the other. I kind of don't like the notion that rich people can tell me how to be rich, or that people with a lot of advantages can laugh. I'd rather laugh with someone who's kind of goofy looking.
Yeah, so would I. We'll get into that in a second. But
We're going
to
get into that in a second.
Polish off my write-up as well, which I need glasses for.
You're old.
Yes, I am. All right, here we go. Pretentious beginning and all.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about that.
Social media has definitely overdeveloped the eye. I mean, we were already moving that way. If print didn't do it, then television and film certainly did. And now with the world in our pockets, it's right there ready to look at every second of every day. The eye is king, and we give it a beautiful technological throne to sit on. There you go.
Oh, yeah. You said it was pretentious and hit the mark, buddy.
So I scroll through my phone like everyone else does. I occasionally feel the urge to click on a video simply because the woman in the thumbnail is attractive. I feel instantly guilty and usually stop there because honestly, the impulse sickens me. But I know the urge. Civilization hasn't erased the animal from me. As a result, I've discovered that some of these attractive women are comedians. And honestly, that's confusing. Comedy is an ugly business, and that's how I like it. Ugly is wrong. Ugly is when things are off. And a large part of comedy is showing us something that is, off. Something that is wrong. Faulty logic, words that almost line up but somehow don't. So when I see an attractive woman trying to make me laugh, my guard is up. You have aesthetic advantages. I can't allow you that and my laughter. That's too much power. So sorry. But I want my comedians to look off as well as sound off. There should be something not right about them. They shouldn't be beautiful or impressive or heroic, or at least not noticeably so.
Yeah, we deserve ugly comedians.
Now, sure, I get it. As soon as there is a rule in comedy, it's time to break it. The very idea of rules is anti-comedy in some ways. But consider it for a moment. Ugly is primordially funny. It's deeply wrong, and our brains are tuned to notice it. Take any street joke. The vast majority are working with intentionally faulty logic. There is something ugly and wrong about them. People with clear physical advantages have a harder time living there because everything about them tells us they're fine. People tend to trust good-looking people more, and there's no need to trust the comedian. That's not what they're there for. So I don't want a muscle-bound athletic comedian who looks like a sex god or goddess.
I think you do need to trust a comedian, but we'll get into that later. You need to trust him not to screw you over.
Yeah, I don't care. I want scrawny, fat, awkward, frustrated, angry, and idiotic. The second we start to pretend that comedians are philosophers, and are we that disassociated from actual philosophy that this passes for the real article somehow, we take away their power to be comedians. Now they're surrogates. Now they're aspirational. And everyone secretly wants to be on that stage. Every tweet, every social media post, every scream into the void proves that. Honestly, I preferred albums over specials. I liked not knowing what the comedian looked like. Sure, I lost the visual jokes, but I gained something too. I had to be more locked in with the material. No gimmicks, no smashing a watermelon. You had to have the goods. Which brings us back to the goddamn eye. We're so flooded by it, so obedient to it, so easily led by it, and it clouds our judgment. The funniest comedian in the world could be the one you just scrolled past, but because his breast didn't look good enough, you didn't bother clicking on it. The way we discover comedians now is going to change comedy itself. It's going to change what we reward, what we notice, and what we laugh at. It will get more beautiful, but it won't get funnier. There we go. That's my write-up.
Yeah, I think I mentioned it before, but the albums, I like the albums. And if a comedian knows he's making an album and is putting in visual jokes, that's on them.
Yeah, it is.
And funny enough, my lady brought this up, was she doesn't like listening to comedy albums or jokes because it requires too much of her attention.
It does require a lot of attention, yeah.
And she finds that...
because you have to ignore the eye and focus on the ear.
Yes, she doesn't like that. So I think there's some people that aren't going to like the albums as much. Like I
definitely.
I can't listen to audiobooks Like I thought I could. I'd put them on in the background and try to do things. But what I ended up doing was I'd put it on in the background. I'd be doing the dishes and then I'd stop doing the dishes because I couldn't quite hear things. And I'd end up just sitting staring at the speakers while the dishes got cold.
So this is somewhat unrelated, but I'll mention it briefly anyways. I think part of our upbringing, although your lady has a similar upbringing, so I would think she would be somewhat similar, sort of led us down this path. Where we grew up in Porcupine, surprise, surprise, there was no comedy club and no live concerts to go see. There was none of those things.
No, that's not true. I said I could have saw Gowan and the Crash Test Dummies play the Metagamy Bar.
When I was 18, I saw them. Yeah, that was quite a ways in. Anyways, so for most part, we couldn't see those things. We wanted to hear music. We bought CDs. We wanted to hear comedy. We had to rent a VHS or go buy an album. And because we grew up in this rural environment, we were really used to the idea of taking in our art with no crowd. That was just the way things were set.
Plus it was hot.
Now, if you were growing up in Toronto, you could go to Yuck Yucks every week and check out live comedians, and you would have that ambiance with all the other people there, and you would get used to looking at the comedian. You would get used to the environment. We never had
They had a Yuck Yucks in Toronto?
Yeah. One of the most popular, Mark Breslin, is that the guy's name that owns it?
I've heard the name, so it must be him.
Anyways, so, I mean, he ruled the Canadian comedy scene for a long, long time. But we didn't have that. So it's easier for us to get into albums than it might be for some city folk who maybe grew up with all kinds of live environments available to them.
I was sure you were going with McLuhan in terms of hot and cold media.
No, I wasn't doing that.
I think radio was a hot media for him. Like it was more engaging. And television was a cold media.
It could be.
I thought that's where you're going for sure.
Yeah,
Big McLuhan head like yourself.
I wasn't. But so back to the ugly thing, though. I do think that when you're telling these kinds of complicated jokes that could go into ugly territories, rape, Holocaust, these types of horrible things, if you're a really attractive person, well, it almost makes everything seem even more awkward somehow.
I don't know, because I watched Sarah Silverman tell a Holocaust joke to a bunch of...
The kind she would never tell anymore?
No. It wasn't a bad one.
Oh,
it was a
good Holocaust joke.
It wasn't a good one, but she said, what do the Jews hate most about the Holocaust? The cost.
Yeah, I saw it coming. Yeah,
it's a weak joke, but she was an attractive lady telling Holocaust jokes.
Yeah. She was, but that was kind
those weren't the kind of Holocaust jokes that I grew up with.
And that was sort of kind of the beginning of it, because before then you had like Phyllis Diller, Roseanne Barr, LaWanda Jackson. You had like the types of women that were being comedians before that, and she was kind of the beginning. I mean, Jeanine Garofalo was around at the same time.
Was a comedian named LaWanda Jackson?
I believe so.
Because I know Wanda Jackson was a rockabilly singer.
No. This is a lady. She was on Sanford and Sons. I think maybe she played the wife or something. Okay. Really raunchy comedy.
No, I don't doubt it.
With the crowd super involved. Like I hate to say this because it sounds a little sexist, but imagine a female Red Fox.
Yeah.
Right? Hilarious lady.
All I'm doing is putting red foxes on.
Maybe it was Paige and not Jackson. Bone. I can't remember now. Anyways, there was women before, and they weren't necessarily attractive. It's Sarah Silverman?
Yeah.
Jeanine Garofalo. There was like a period in the 90s where these more attractive women started getting into comedy. Now, you can see it with guys, too. Like Matt Rife is a big comedian today.
And Louis C.K. Like, he's just Louis C.K. is
perfect, not
man.
dealing with his good looks, but Matt Rife certainly is.
What a dude.
He's got a chiseled body, Ripley muscles. I was going to say Mipley Russells.
I don't know what a Mipley Russell is, but I know I don't want it on me.
Ripley muscles. Nice chiseled face. Like, he's just a gorgeous
like Louis
looking
C.K.
dude. He's a gorgeous looking dude. And ladies go there and they cheer him on and stuff like that and bring him baked goods and that kind of thing. Maybe he's funny, maybe not. I will never find out because I can't get very far into his set before I'm just irritated by the guy. He might be a Dane Cook type thing where it's a flash in the pan and he's huge and then disappears a few years later. I don't know.
Yeah, Dane Cook was a weird
So it's
one,
not just women. But if the look of the comedian matches the material, which is something I didn't quite mention last time, that creates a more fluid situation for me. It's easier for me to get involved in it. If you go up and you're talking about these ugly things, because some comedy does work that way, it's weird to have a really good-looking person presenting the material.
Yes.
And they also have different experiences, right? A good-looking person has had people... placating them for years because we all do it to some degree. Whereas ugly people have seen the uglier sides of people. They're used to being judged for being ugly.
It can also be
and they better develop a goddamn sense of humor about it because they got no other option.
It's also a little
Plastic
disingenuous,
surgery, I guess.
Where, I mentioned this the first time we did this, but it crashed out, so you're getting the better, more polished version.
Well, we'll see about that. We'll never know what the other version is like now.
But it's a little disingenuous when you've got a really good-looking dude up there complaining about good-looking dude problems.
Yeah.
I walk into a bar and three hot ladies throw themselves at me. How am I supposed to... that's not something I can identify with.
Oh, for sure, yeah. And this is a court jester, right?
Yes.
They're not supposed to seem above everybody. You don't want them to be smarter than you and better looking than you and more muscular than you and all of these things.
It's a different thing when the king is telling you jokes.
Yeah, you have to laugh.
Yes.
Right? And the good-looking person kind of is the king in a way because we judge so much based on those. No one's comfortable admitting it, but ugly people get a bad rap in life. They get a tougher deal than good-looking people. That's just how it is. Now,
you've got to be incredibly smart and physically strong like us because we aren't attractive enough to just get by in life.
Yeah,
you've got to have the charm that
we're not so ugly that we have to overcome too much.
No, give yourself some credit. You're pretty ugly, dude.
But we're ugly. We're not beautiful either. So we still have to have some skills.
Yes.
Right? Now, I've worked with people, I'm not going to say who were tall and good looking, and boy, did they have a much easier time getting ahead at work than everybody else. Yeah, and they seem to think that it's because of who they are. They have no clue that they have these advantages, and they don't seem to realize that it's helped them out a great deal. When you're laughing at a thing in a comedy club, a lot of it is awkwardness and releasing of tension.
It is.
Right?
The other... Sorry, go ahead.
Well, and to have all those people around you, because I mentioned this last time, so I want to bring it up again briefly. Part of it is, if you were sitting alone in a room listening to that, you might not laugh. The material has to be a lot stronger when you're alone in a room listening to it. When you're in a crowd, it's much easier. That same special won't work as well for you at home alone, because when the guy says something, you look around at those other people, and you might not realize you're thinking this, but part of your brain is going, he said that in front of all of them? I can't believe it. What are they going to think? You don't even worry about yourself. You're there to laugh, but you can't believe he said these things in front of everybody else. That's part of the ugly truth about social situations. You would never say that at work.
The sitting at home
to a close buddy
and watching, and because I know when I sit and I listen to a comedy special, if it's very rare that I'll laugh out loud to myself. Doesn't happen very often.
It's pretty rare for me too.
A lot of the times I'll just be sitting there analyzing how the joke works because you get a chance to see the structure.
Yes.
And you don't have that tension. And then if it's good, you go and show someone else and you watch it with them and you laugh out loud.
Yes.
If I'm watching somebody who's clearly put the polish, the technical skill, and have constructed the joke, and they're funny looking or goofy looking, and I get to laugh with them, that's great. I can get behind that. Brian Regan is a goofy looking dude. And he clearly hates idiots, and he's the biggest idiot of all in all of his stories.
Yeah.
When someone is attractive in doing that, it's not as relatable, and I find there's a distance, and I end up analyzing the joke. I watch them as if I'm by myself, because I'm not with them on stage.
Right.
And just as a quick aside, I mentioned it last time, but a couple years ago, my lady got me stand-up comedy lessons. So I could go on stage and regale everyone with my comedy. But I don't like that. I hate crowds.
But imagine you looked like Marty Feldman, to bring him back up again.
Yeah.
The second you step on stage, people are giggling a little bit. With those eyes off like that, they're a little wrong, ugly.
But he was never a stand-up comedian.
No, I know. But he did play comedic roles. I mean, he's in...
Gilbert
I know him from Yellowbeard, but most people know him from Young...
Frankenstein.
Not Young Frankenstein.
Young
Bride of Frankenstein?
No.
Anyways,
Whatever
he's in that Mel Brooks film, I think.
Yeah, Mel Brooks.
I'm not a Mel Brooks fan, personally. He's ugly and all, it still doesn't work for me.
No, Gilbert Gottfried's great because the persona he's putting on, he's ugly, obnoxious, and tiny. Like, just everything about him just reeks of off-putting. Rodney Dangerfield's a great one.
Rodney Dangerfield's a great example, too. You couldn't have, he's playing the everyman loser. You couldn't have Matt Rife in that role. No one's going to believe
Frankenstein was Yahoo serious.
Was it?
Yeah.
I don't even know what that means. But those are some words you just said.
He was an
for
Australian
sure.
dude that was in Young Frankenstein, and he played the Young Frankenstein.
So we're thinking Bride of Frankenstein.
No, it wasn't Bride of Frankenstein.
Oh, okay. Well, anyways, it doesn't really matter too much. It's Mel
It was
Brooks.
Frankenstein. And
Mel Brooks kind of not my cup of tea. He's famous
No.
and hugely influential as he is.
Yeah, whatever. You got Mel Brooks on my brain now.
Yeah, so the notion of ugly, I don't want people to take this the wrong way because it sounds like I was picking on female comedians, and I'm not. I mean, maybe I am a little bit.
Yeah, but it's a subset of attractive comedians.
Yeah. So I feel it more intensely with female comedians because I'm more attracted to women than I am to men. But I can recognize it in men too. And when I see a man looking a certain way, it still bugs me. But the thing is, when I say it's wrong, I want to be clear about this. I don't mean morally. I mean, we have certain expectations when we look at a face. We expect an eye to be a certain distance away from the center of the face and to end a certain distance and to
He's
be
not
somewhat
voting, eh?
symmetrical. And so when Marty Feldman comes in with his eyes looking in different places all the time, it's a little bit ugly and funny. Now, it's not quite like there's a horrible thing that happened and there's no recourse but to laugh. It is a little bit like that, isn't it?
It is.
With the monkey. It's a little bit like that. So this horrible thing happened to this guy. He's going to have a harder time finding women. He looks a little ugly now. It's funny.
It's attention. It's attention, and it needs to be relieved.
Yeah, and it's one of the kinder ways to relieve that tension rather than just be like, my God, are you ever ugly? You know, to just laugh a little bit, it's fine. What the hell is that noise?
Oh, my gosh.
Jingle bells? It was his phone.
yeah.
It was his phone. That was an ugly moment.
It was terrible. Was this episode or last episode I talked about the Kaminko show?
I don't even know what that means anymore.
About the comedian that I saw. Little lady.
Oh, yeah. That's this episode.
Okay. You sure?
Yeah. Oh, I don't know if you mentioned it this time.
No.
Go ahead and mention it again.
Yeah. So a few years ago, I went to a comedy show, speaking of tension and awkward. And
If this is the second time through the story, you can just skip. But
yeah,
carry on.
I don't think it is. But went to a comedy show, and there was a little person, a little lady.
Yeah.
I was going to say midget. I want to clear that up this time because it was last time we mentioned it. But she went up on stage, and she couldn't get up the steps because her legs were too short, so she had to kind of crawl up on all fours, which was awkward and a little upsetting to sit because I was up near the front row. But she had a really low-cut top and was just pushing her cleavage up. And I was looking. And as soon as she got on stage and lowered the mic down, she said, yeah, I was climbing up there, and every time I do this, people look down my top. And I immediately was on the spot and felt awkward about it. And then everyone laughed, and I thought, okay, that's fair. That's a relief of attention. We can talk about it now. She did it deliberately. And if I'd done that at work, to some lady who had bent over to, pick up coffee, that'd be awful. That'd be human resources.
Well, and if a little person was at your workplace and they were trying to climb up onto something, nobody would be able to laugh about it because it's just awkward and uncomfortable.
Yeah, you get ramps installed.
The fact that they're doing it in a comedy club right away,
Yeah.
You're like thinking, okay, this pressure could be released.
Yes.
They're giving you license to laugh at this thing. You can't do it out in the real world, but in a comedy club, you can. So all of a sudden, that ugly person gets up on the stage, and now you're okay with laughing at them.
She wasn't ugly, by the way. Great cleavage.
In some way, they're taking a power back, sort of. But
they-
what they're really doing is they're inviting us in to non-hatefully have fun with this.
Yeah. Respect with the purpose of laughter.
Which is a beautiful thing. If you're able to make somebody laugh, there's nothing wrong with that whatsoever. And I think we touched on this with the Outsider music thing, too, in a way.
Yeah, we touch on a lot of things. We're rambling. We're rambling at 24 minutes.
24 minutes. It's been a bit of an episode. Anyways, I think we proved it. Comedy should be ugly, or
Yes.
at least
We shouldn't have attractive comedians.
we definitely shouldn't prioritize attractive comedians above other comedians.
We don't want comedy to
Simply
turn
because on social media it's easy to click on a pretty face.
we don't want comedy to turn into pop music.
Yeah.
Where you have to be good looking before they write a song for you.
So since you're here already, you probably agree with this to some extent.
if
Click
not,
on
you're
more
already
thumbnails
convinced.
with ugly people.
Yeah, that's us.
So thank you for showing up. All right, are we done?
Yeah. Oh, don't do it.
See you on down the
God
trails.
damn it.
Where's your ending?
Goodbye.